Masterton 2020, 60th anniversary. We're into the business end of Golden Shears 2020. So I'm really pleased at the moment to have two very distinguished co-commentators with me. We've had Digger for a couple of sessions already, and Jack, welcome to the green room.
Yeah, thanks, Mavis. No, it's great to be back in Masterton here at the Golden Shears. Up next is the Open semi-final, and we have seen the top 12 shearers come through out of the top 30 shootout last night. So it's going to be a good burn up, this one.
It sure is. So we're going to play this by ear as we flick through these two heats of the Open semi-final. So why don't we start, and maybe each of you, one-on-one, introduce us to who these competitors are, and just any little, I don't know, good little stories or how they've done up to date.
So on stand one, we have Brett Roberts from Matota. He's a big family man from down in the Southern District there. He's come through the grades relatively quick. He was the senior champion here, I think, 6 years ago, so it's his first Open semi-final. He has won the New Zealand full wool title and the Otago title last year. He hasn't had too many wins this season, but he's been placing very well when he's been getting into these big events. So you never know, we could see a new finalist there tonight. And stand two, Dig.
Yeah, we've got Aaron Haynes from Fielding. Aaron's been here before, done that. I think his best results are second in the Open, maybe last year, and he might have had 2 seconds actually to Roland Smith.
Yeah.
He knows what it's all about, and if everything goes right, we'll probably see Aaron in the final.
And stand three, of course, another King Country shearer, Mark Granger. He was first-time finalist here at the Golden Shears last year. I think he's made the New Zealand Open final in Tikawiti 5 or 6 times and been placing very well this season. He's had a couple of wins, and we'll soon see if he can get in the Open final tonight.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, stand 4, Leon Samuels from Invercargill.
Man of the moment.
Yeah, it is. He's had a couple of big wins down south, 1 Gore and 1 Balclutha earlier in the year. So he's in form. The first time I think Leon's been in the semi-final. So he'll be enjoying the moment, and I'm sure he's got enough experience to go all the way.
Cool.
And on stand 5, we have Dion King. He's former champion here at Golden Shears. He won the Open title in 2006. And he was former 9-hour world record holder shearing lambs. He shore 866 lambs in 9 hours. And he hasn't showed too much form this season. He hasn't been around. He's been a family man, but he's come back to the Golden Shears, and here he is in the top 12. So he's certainly a man with a lot of talent. He'd be the dark horse to watch, I'd say. It'd be a fair call.
Yep, I agree with you with that.
Yeah, no, good call. He's got the experience, and another one could make their final. But on stand 6, David Buick. Now David is, I think he's going to be the crowd favourite. He's a local boy. He's been in the final many times, but he just hasn't been able to pull a big one off.
He's been pretty close though, eh?
He's been close. They're saying this year could be his year, but we just don't have to wait and see.
There's probably someone about 2 metres tall that's been in the way the last few years, though, I think. Roland Smith, he's just been dominant and on form at every competition. It's not very often anyone can tip him over, but yeah, we'll soon find out in a few hours.
That's right. So that's our first heat of this semi-final. Now, Jack, Digger's got a habit of sitting on the fence with this thing, so we get halfway through and start to get a feel for things. So let's see if we can get him off that fence.
Yep, no worries.
He sits on it a bit.
Yeah. To me, Mavis and Jack, this is one of the biggest events of the Golden Shears, the semi-final, because it's just, you really wonder out of those 12 who's going to make that big final tonight. Watching the final tonight, it's a little bit different. Yeah, you're in. That's the relief, but this semi-final is just so nerve-wracking for the shearers and for their families and fans down there watching. They just don't know who's going to make their final tonight.
There's nothing quite like the pressure in the stadium. You can compete all season, you could do 20 competitions, but there's just something about Masterton.
Yep, so now we've started, the clicker is gone, and we're getting the wide view for a start, Jack. Everything starts off pretty cool, calm and collected, then it seems to get increasingly frenetic.
Yeah, these boys are going to want to pop their first sheep out in late 40 seconds, maybe early 50s. They'll be hoping to hit the rhythm. Let's see, Brett Roberts on stand 1. He's the big Māori boy from Matoda. He's under that first shoulder, setting off to a good pace. Everyone now down into the long blue. Brett Roberts, he's got about 2 more shots. Here he is on camera number 1. Turns for home along with Aaron Haynes and Mark Granger. David Buick down on stand 6. He's up blow for blow with them.
There he is. I don't know if you've seen our graphics. I'll quickly explain to you, Jack, but the graphics, the green and the red, if you're in the green, it's a good thing. You know, in terms of your time, as we see there, where you see the board where the dial is starting to go into the red, that's not quite so good. So the green and red are giving you the average of that heat in terms of the board. So Aaron's sitting about the middle there at the moment. Not a bad place to sit, but as they go through, you'll see, you start to, you know, quickly be able to interpret exactly where they're sitting.
So these guys, they'll be farming, what we call farming their pen. They probably all started on a reasonable one. Now they're probably getting into their work, trying to do their bigger, woollier ones, Mavis.
Yeah.
And then hopefully the last 4 or 5 they can come home, another sort of smaller ones, one with a little bit less wool on around the head, and come home with a rush on those ones. So just looking at Mark Granger from Tikawiti on stand 3, coming under their front leg. First time finalist last year, Mark, so he'll be hoping to make their final again this year.
Yep, son of Paul and Claire.
That's right. So trying to fly that flag for the King Country. He goes in for number 4, and just looking at his graphics here, he's right on the pace with the time. A little bit higher on the board than a couple of the other ones.
Early days.
Early days it is. They've got 10 to share.
Yeah, Mark's just starting to find his rhythm now. It's about sheep number 3 on the board, of course. First in the lead, though, is David Buick. He's on stand 6 into the long blow, so Mark's probably about 10 or 12 seconds back off the pace. You never know, though. He could be getting the tougher ones out first. The other boys could be shearing the slightly better ones. But Mark Granger now, he's down into the long blow. Still slightly in the green. He's looking good. He's just about up with the pace, not getting too far behind.
This is showing that his outside pen's looking pretty damn good.
Yep, he's had a good score on his first sheep.
Yeah.
He's probably scored a 2 or 3, maybe a 4 on it, probably, for his first sheep.
Beautiful looking job. Look at that. He's not mucking around. He needs this. He wants it.
Yeah, these sheep looking pretty slick compared to last night. These are some of the top turtles that have been selected for the semi-final, and they're certainly picking up the pace. They're looking very good combing. Here we have Leon Samuels on stand number 4. He's really stepped up this season, won that big South Island Shearer of the Year title down in Gore. He's up the neck into the base of the ear. Almost like a rubber band, this man. He's very flexible. He can handle anything you chuck at him, any size sheep, including merinos. He's a very experienced shearer, and you never know, we could see him in that open final tonight. He's definitely one of the South Islanders on form, and he's starting to pull away from the rest of the field now, handling the pressure very good. Leon's over that last shoulder. All his scores are in the green. He's doing pretty good at the moment, Mavis.
So you can see our graphics have come up in the top right-hand corner, and stand 4, Leon Samuels is doing the best at the moment.
Yeah.
Aaron Haynes has got a good score, slightly a little bit further back as Aaron, but it's Jimmy Samuels is looking good at the moment. He's got number 5 on the board, so he's got a really good board, low board, Jimmy.
Leon,
sorry. Jimmy's going to come up in the next semi-final, his brother.
Yeah.
Up next on stand 5, we have Dion King, former Open champion here. He won that title 14 years ago, so it's a long time between drinks, folks. This is one of the toughest, if not the toughest competition in the world to win. Now, I just had a quick look at Dion's combs before. He's very thin, making sure to keep that comb flat on the skin. These turtles are quite dry cutting this year, so you want to have your gear going. Dion, though, he's over that last shoulder, right up with the pace with Leon and David. Cleans off that brisket wool down to the flank. Dion King, he's starting to hit his straps, top of the hock. Wool flying off. He's going to pop sheep number 5 down in 4 minutes something.
He's doing amazing, considering he's not match fit, if you like, compared to the other guys. You know, he's kind of been in and out a bit, eh?
Dead right, Mavis. I don't think he might have done one competition this season, and then to come down here to Masterton and be in the top 12, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just shows you the measure of the man's ability.
Talent.
And talent, and he's just a natural. As Jack said earlier, 866 lambs in a day's work a couple of years ago, just huge.
Yeah.
Now Dion's still going pretty good. His pen's not too bad. His board's a little bit higher, and that's probably just because he hasn't been on his game in the competitions. The board will be a little bit higher.
One thing you have to remember though, the guys that are in front a little bit, they've had actually a bit more of the sheep judged compared to the guys that are a bit slower. So if the board score's a little bit higher, often the slower guys will creep up towards the end as well because they still have another couple of sheep to do.
We've just seen David Buick down there on stand 6. He's changed the handpiece, the Wairarapa boy. So Wairarapa will be hoping like anything that he can make their final tonight. And
so he's changed on sheep 7, is that right?
Yep. So he's shorn 6 and he's got 4 so hopefully he's got 4 good ones to come home on.
Yeah.
And beautiful wall coming off that sheep there. David Buick, he's up the neck, round the back of the ear. He'll swing that right leg back to open up that front shoulder. Drops down and under the frib ball.
David's got a really good pen score, well below average. He's got a good board. And he is having a good share, David Buick. He could be him and Leon Samuels. Could be the two to leading this one. And young Brett Roberts down on stand 1 too. He's going very well. Actually, there's nothing in it. It's starting to come down to the time points.
Brett Roberts is actually in front at the moment. He has sheep number 8 on the board. David Buick, he's just popped in the pen. He's probably about 8 to 10 seconds back off Brett.
Yeah.
Top knot comes off on stand number 1. Brett Roberts has an awesome pen and board score. He's actually going to be the young gun to watch at the moment. 2 sheep left in the pen for him. So I bet you the family back down in Matota and Gore are absolutely screaming at the television right now because Brett Roberts there, man, has really taken it to the rest of the field.
Well, you've been down the South Island a few times, Jack, so you'd know the local pub down in Matara. I bet you it's going off at the moment.
Yeah, the local rugby club, the boys will be getting in behind him.
Yeah, no doubt they've probably played a pre-season game there and now they're glued to the big screen. Watching their local boy come down there last side. Just look at the big Maori boy.
Beautiful, isn't that?
Oh, pretty to watch.
One more shot.
Nice one.
Brett Roberts, he's back in the pen. He's got his second handpiece on, so his gear's going pretty good. Little bit of a flip of the handpiece, but he's got the experience, caught it back. Belly wall flicks out for Brett. But on stand 2, Aaron Haynes, he's had a little bit of trouble in this semi-final part 1. He's into the long blow of sheep number 8, turns for home.
I'll tell you what will drag Aaron through. He might be a little bit behind on time, but just his outside job is unbelievable. Look at that, way down in the green.
Yeah.
Very good board. So what he gives away on time points, he probably will make up with his quality. And I was watching Aaron warm up before. He's taken this to a new level. He was outside doing stretching, throwing tennis balls, just getting the reflexes going, and takes him a little bit of time to warm up and get into his game. But by sort of 8, 9, 10, he'd be really hitting his straps.
Well, he's not far away from it now. What about Mark Granger? He's always one of those quiet ones that you don't sort of take much notice of, and next minute, boom, he's right in your face.
Yeah, he just sits in behind, likes to sit in behind. He always a quality shearer, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah, look at his pen.
Yep.
Very good pen score from Mark. His board is creeping up a little bit
higher. Yep, maybe his cone's just not quite running. But he'll be another one. His quality could pull him through.
Mark Granger though, down the last side, he's got 1 left in the pen. Brett Roberts is into the long blow of sheep 10, so Mark's a good half a sheep behind. He's going to have to rely on his outback score to pull him through. Sheep number 10.
There's some beautifully shorn sheep going out, that's for sure.
All the boys are on their last sheep. Dion King hits the red button first.
Oh, jeez.
Dion King's, what a fantastic share from the Napier boy. Contract sprayer now for most of his...
ag contractor.
Yeah, and maybe he goes back in the shed for 1 or 2 days to get a little bit of practice, but what an effort to put one around some of these shearers. We've got David Buick switched off. Young Corny Roberts down there on stand 1, he's finished off. He's got a good score. Leon Samuels, another one. switched off, just waiting. Aaron and Mark coming down the last side, having a little bit of race of their own. It looks like Aaron's done a go out. 37
One more shot
flat.
for Aaron.
Mark Granger goes out. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait for them to put those last couple of sheep in, and then...
Yeah, well, you know that fence you're sitting on? Just move over. Move over a bit.
Brett Roberts, what a share. What a share from the young fella, eh? I think he's a definite.
Yep, I'd be putting Brett in. Aaron's going to be right on the money along with Brett. Mark's probably a little bit too high on the board. There you go, first yellow score up for David Buick.
Yeah.
37.1. Which
Nothing
means,
wrong with that, is it?
That's our top. He's our top qualifier.
which
so
means
far.
David only has to beat one other shearer in the semi-final to get in. So David's in a very strong position at the moment.
Yeah.
So he'll go out into the changing room and have a beer now, will he, Jack? Hey, do you think?
Well, I don't know. He'll probably be going out. He'll be a little bit tense. He'll be getting rehydrated. Let's see. Leon Samuels, 37.6.
So, yeah.
Second qualifier. Let's see where Aaron Haynes is going to place.
Where's he gonna finish?
Last sheep's getting judged.
So Leon is sitting in a pretty good spot too. He's second at the moment. Still 6 shearers to come, of course, but
Gee,
yeah.
this is tight though, isn't it?
It's nerve-wracking. This is the it must be the same for the Woolhandlers too. That this semi-finals, it's just huge.
Yeah. And you know what you were saying before, this is the hardest one.
Yep.
It was hard to get here and it's damn hard to get out of it, eh?
And
to move on to the next level.
You know, they sure last night in the top 30 and the top 12 went through, and then probably some of them have had to sit around all day. They didn't shear in the PGG this morning, so they've had to sit around and just the nerves and filling in that time.
So we've got those final scores up there already, and Leon and David both sitting on the 37s.
Yeah, with Brett Roberts, third qualifier out of that heat, closely followed
Yeah.
by Aaron Haynes, 0.2 of a point back behind Brett. That's equivalent to 4 seconds, folks.
Yeah. And then Mark, 39.23.
Yep, and Dion King in 39.8. Dion had a little bit of a high score on the board, a little bit more out back. He hasn't been doing too much shearing this season, been out spraying in the Hawke's Bay, so he's still very fit, but not quite on form as he has been.
No, still Lincoln worthy though. That was a fantastic first heat of this semi-final. They're not wasting too much time as they bring the next lot up and get everybody ready. We might as well just have a bit of a chat about, we've seen Leon and David. Certainly their points look damn good. Brett's not far away. When we look at what's to come, what are we thinking?
Well, just looking at the semi-finals, I actually think this is a slightly stronger semi-final. You've got Roland Smith, John Kirkpatrick, Nathan Stratford and Gavin Much. Not taking anything away from the guys in the first semi, but this is arguably the stronger semi, so, but anything can happen. They've still got to share their 10 sheep.
Yeah, they've still got to pull the first one out and turn the handpiece on.
Yep, she's going to be quite a spectacle, this one, folks. Gavin Much, former world champion, Golden Shears champion, of course, in 2015. He's known for taking off like a cut cat. He's a very quick shearer.
Yeah, Gavin's on 6, and next to him is Roland Smith, stand 5. Make a really
Six-time Open Golden Shears champion, Roland Smith. So if he can make the final and win tonight, he will become the shearer with the second most amount of Golden Shears titles.
Yeah, 8 did you say?
He's won 6 so far, I think.
So I think he's tied with Snow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, sorry, here's the wins.
He's
2013, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19.
So he's tied with Snow Quinn. So if he can manage to make that final tonight and win Mavis, he'll be outright second. And there's a guy who won 16. Just his name slips me at the moment, but it'll come to me.
I'm sure it will. I think it's that same one that's got Sir.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Lives in Tikawiti, I think.
That's it. So we've got Nathan Stratford. Now he's been, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 finals that he's been in here at Golden Shears.
Yep.
So maybe this is his turn.
Yeah, to me, I would love to see Nathan win this. He has been here many, many times, and he's just a gentleman, just a guy that I think would be really great to see him win this one. But he's got to make that final, of course. So
He's a renowned fine shearer, Nathan Stratford. He's won the multi-breed title at Golden Shears several times.
That's right.
But in recent years, Digger, just watching him shear, he's actually changed his pattern a lot. He's had a very quick hand. He's now filling his comb and shearing to a really nice pattern and strategy. He's changed a lot in the last 5 years, I believe.
Saying that, Jack, and he used to always get left behind. He'd have 1 or 2 sheep left in the pen at the finish. Now he's right up with the pace, and he's so clean. That when he's right on the pace, it's he's right there.
And on stand 3, of course, one of the most exciting shearers to watch, basically in the whole of the world, is Jimmy Superfly Samuels from Martin. He's a renowned speed shearer. He's won about 43 titles, I think it is, worldwide in the open speed shears. Hasn't quite won an open shearing title yet. And on stand 2, Digger, the man that needs no introduction,
Johnny Kirkpatrick. He's won this a couple of times, Johnny.
Yep, 4 times, I think.
Be the
Finalist 20.
Johnny would be the oldest guy in the semi-finals. Just fantastic to see a guy of his age up there shearing with these athletes. And down on stand 1, Troy Piper.
He's been a finalist twice.
Yep, Troy's always shears really well at Golden Shears. Probably the sheep that he shears in the North Canterbury area, quite tough shearing, so he's probably really liking these tough sheep in Masterton at the moment. So we're just watching the boys settle into it. Troy Piper there on stand 1. He's on what we call a ringer stand 1. That's where when we go to the shed, you put your fastest shearer on stand 1, and it's always, that's the stand when you're coming up, when you're learning or coming through the grades. You try and beat that guy next to you, and you want to move up a stand, and then when you get to number 1 stand, you can start calling the shots in the shed.
But then you got to stay there. You got to work to stay there.
Well, that's right. If you get beaten for 3 days, I think it is, you got to move. You got to move down, and someone will knock you off your perch. But they've all got number 1 done. They've gone in. They would have seen that first semi-final go.
So they've seen it go. They know what the times are. They know kind of where the quality mark is. What are they thinking when they go up there for this?
it's probably quite beneficial being in the second heat, I think, because you can actually see the times and work out how quick you have to shear. If things aren't going quite to plan, you can change your tactics when you're on stage. John Kirkpatrick, he's got a little bit of a tough sheep there, of course. Having to hold that head a bit longer makes it a bit tougher to shear that first shoulder. He settles it down, just trying to keep that sheep calm as he swings around into the long blow. That allows Troy Piper to pull away. He's on the last shoulder along with all of the other shearers. Roland Smith, one more shot for him. So you can just see Johnny's getting a little bit back off the pace. On stand number 2, he's right at that last hind leg. Jimmy Samuels goes in. Here he is, folks, the Superfly. Sheep number 3 out on the board for him. Starts that handpiece, kicks it into gear, and he is away, not too far back off Roland Smith. Of course, he's going to be setting the pace, current Golden Shears champ. But the young guns, Digger, they got to take it to him because they're certainly not going to make it easy for Roland.
Oh, these young guys, first-time semi-finalists like Jimmy up there, he's just got to get into it and give it everything he's got. And sometimes you've got to get up there and share a semi-final and to know what it's all about. As you said earlier, the pressure is just like nothing else. And sometimes you've got to make 1 or 2 semis before you can just take that next shot to make the final. But you never know if he's doing everything right tonight or this afternoon. He could make that final, and he's right up with the pace, Jimmy Samuels.
Yeah, look at that.
So I know Jimmy's got a lot of fun now around New Zealand, though. Wherever you're watching, just start jumping up and down. Hopefully he can hear you.
Might just mention too, Dick, Jimmy's quality points at the moment are exceptional. His board score and outback is looking very good, especially compared to the rest of the field. So you never know, we could see a new finalist there if he can keep this pace up.
Oh, look at Nathan. He's, it looks like he's had a bit of a mishap out the back, but, oh no, there it is, readjusted.
He's a little bit higher, so he's probably had a couple of sheep judged, and his board, look at Nathan's board, that's very low, but his job will come back, I'm sure. He'll settle into it. He might have just had 1 or 2. He might have done his worst sheep first and struggled to get a job on it. But his pen's coming back now. Look, he's right on the average. So he's in the green for total.
Oh, they're just a bit toey, aren't they?
Well, they certainly are. The guys in this semi seem to be having a little bit more trouble in the first semi-final.
Yeah, they're strong, Wairarapa turus, these sheep, supplied by Donald McRae, of course. Donald and Linda, about 10 minutes out of Masterton. So these are very, very fit, fiery sheep straight off the hills, folks. These are not tame animals. They're not sedated. It's all down to the shearer to keep them in control. Of course, stand 5, the current Golden Shears Open champion, Roland Smith. He's been the man on form this season. I think he wins just about 90% of competitions that he enters. So if you're a betting man, you'd be putting your money on him. I think he was paying $1.16 on the TAB last night.
Yeah.
Probably about the lowest odds you've ever seen for Golden Shears.
So I think Roland top qualified out of the heats, top qualified last night out of the top 30, and he's looking pretty good at the moment. Yeah, he's just in incredible form at the moment. Probably not quite doing as much shearing as he used to do. He's got a contracting business, so he spends a lot of time driving a tractor, but still just does enough shearing to keep himself fit, and no doubt keeps him fit with gymming and a little bit of training.
Had a text from Pippa asking what time is this going to be on? Kids will be devastated if they miss. So, you know, everyone everywhere. It's not just here in the stadium. This is a worldwide audience, and it's wonderful.
Hi to Pippa and Matt. Rolly's brother Matt lives in England and down in Cornwall, and the kids Dusty and George. Hi Dusty. And just looking at Gavin Much, Scotsman living in Whangamomina, former world champion, former Golden Shears champion. I think he was the first foreigner to win the Golden Shears Open title, and he's having a good shear down there on stand 6. Gavin, another one who hasn't been doing a lot of shearing this year, but he's just got that experience, and he's just one of those guys that every time he gets up there, he just gives it everything he's got.
Yeah, Gavin's starting to really empty the tank, Digger. He is the pacemaker at the moment. Gavin Much is around the back of the head. Roland Smith has just gone in the pen, so Gavin Much has a healthy lead as he swings round into that long blow. 2 former world champions shearing side by side, Roland Smith and Gavin Much, and of course former team world champion Nathan Stratford. Quick change of steel for him. Gavin Much, he hasn't changed handpiece yet. Sheep number 7 is on the board. He tips over that last hind shoulder, lifts the leg up, shears down to the flank. He's got a very good lead at the moment. If he has a 10-second lead, that's equivalent to half a point.
Yeah.
So hi to Gavin's parents back in Scotland. No doubt hopefully watching the live feed.
All the way up in Aberdeen.
And all of Gavin's friends over there. Big hi from New Zealand. So we're just getting the graphics now, and it looks like Gavin Much is having a really, really good shear. He's out in front at the moment. So he's sitting on 23.1. Roland Smith 24.3. Nathan 24.4. Jimmy 24.6. Johnny 24.6. And Troy 24.7. So, but all that'll change because the fast guys, their clocks are going to stop the quickest.
Just looking out the back though, Digger, the pen scores from stands 5 and 6 are definitely dominant at the moment. Roland Smith and Gavin Much, they're having a very good shear side by side. The board scores, Nathan Stratford is currently in front there, a little bit higher at the back compared to the rest.
Just look at our shots now of this graph that's come up. There's nothing in that. There's no peaks at all. That's just one flat mountain. So it's going to come down to speed, and as you say, the 2 guys down on 5 and 6 have got a little bit of a lead. Troy Piper's not too far away. Gavin and Rowley have got number 9 on the board. Troy's just going in for his 9th one. Johnny's a couple of shots away, and Nathan and Jimmy just half a last side to go.
God, so annoying.
We've just ticked over 8 minutes, folks. So this heat, well, Gavin Much is going to be on pace with the first heat, but just the likes of Jimmy and Johnny and Nathan Stratford, they're going to be a little bit back off the pace, which could bring Brett Roberts on 38 points. He could be getting a look in at the open final here. Nathan Stratford flicks that belly wool forward, but Roland Smith, he is gaining on the Scotsman. Yeah. Roland and Gavin, they're blow for blow. Cleaning off that frib ball under the last leg. Roland Smith now in front. Right at the sock for him. 2 more shots, 1 sheep left in the pen for the 2-metre tower, Digger.
Yeah, well, Gavin probably hasn't been doing as much training as Rolly, so it'll just be starting to hurt. Just be starting to suck some deep breaths in, and it'll be, might just be running out a little bit of puff. And just look at Rolly Smith, he's going away, he's got a beautiful sheep there to finish on. But saying that, Gavin won't give up. He's got a big heart on him, this boy from Scotland.
Nathan Stratford finishing touches. He's in the pen for his last one. Jimmy Samuels down the last side. Johnny Kirkpatrick is around the back of the head on 10. Blow for blow with Troy Piper, but it's going to be Roland Smith. Turns for home first. We're in about 9 minutes and 25 seconds, folks. So it's definitely a little bit slower than the last heat. But they look cleaner. Roland Smith, 2.3 on the board. He's going to be first off in semi-final part 2.
Oh, look at Gavin's outside job, 3.4 so far for the sheep judge. That's very, very clean. And we see Rolly's buttoned off. So Gavin goes out. So Rolly's got 0.5, he's got half a point on him. Johnny's right there, 34.4. Johnny must have had a brilliant shear over those last 4 or 5 because he didn't get a very good start.
Johnny's board score is 1 whole point lower than Roland's dig, so that's pulled him back down into contention.
Oh, certainly. So we're looking at, we've just got to wait for a few scores to come in, and then we'll be able to give you the
here we go, folks.
Open finalists. But just looking at that, I'm going to go
Jimmy Samuels has finished.
Johnny and Rolly and Gavin. Oh, look at Johnny's score, 34.9.
Wow.
That's incredible.
So something that is of interest, folks, we have David Buick from the first semi-final on 37.1. We could see 5 shearers from this last semi-final go through, because in second place we have Leon Samuels on 37.6. So it's going to be very close. The judges are just checking out the last sheep out the back.
Yeah, you called it, Digger. You did say this was the stronger, in your view, this was the stronger heat, and that seems to have really come true.
Yeah, well, I do know a little bit, Mavis, I think. I like to think I do anyway, and I tell people I do.
And we all believe you when you say that.
But no, it just comes down to the day. But look at those scores. We've got Johnny 34.9, Rolly.
Gee, that's Gavin probably gone, eh?
Now Gavin 36.3.
Gavin would be in, I'd say.
Gavin will be in.
Oh, he is.
Roland Smith 35.5. Nathan Stratford's in.
Top qualifier John Kirkpatrick of Napier.
So we've got, as Jack said, we've got 5 out of the second heat.
We're just waiting for Troy's points to go yellow. No, Jimmy Samuels, he's just behind his brother Leon.
Unfortunately, Jimmy won't make it. We've just got to wait for Troy's. Just waiting for Troy's points.
The suspense of it all.
Just imagine how nervous Troy is. He knows he's got a sheep to go in there. There's a sheep to be judged. Or maybe 2, he's not sure. He's just waiting and hoping that it stays in around about. He needs to be under 37, and he's 35.7. So
we can see it changing at the top though, Dig. We have a new top qualifier for the open semi-final, which is John Kirkpatrick. Now Roland Smith, he was top in the heats and the top 30 last night. So for Johnny to be top in the semi-final, it's going to be a great boost of confidence for him tonight.
That's right. That's right. It's not much of a lead over Roland, but it's enough.
Yes, it's 0.6 of a point, which is equivalent to 12 seconds. There we go, Troy Piper.
Troy Piper.
41.5, so Troy will be out of that one.
So that brings David.
That brings David and Leon. Which means we have a new Golden Shears finalist, ladies and gentlemen. We have John Kirkpatrick, Roland Smith, Gavin Much, Nathan Stratford, David Buick, and Leon Samuels.
So we have,
and of course that's unofficial. We've still
totally unofficial.
So
the points will get checked, but at the moment, that's looking like the 6 it'll be.
No.
There we have it. It's come up on our screen. John Kirkpatrick, Roland Smith, Nathan Stratford, Gavin Much, David Buick, Leon Samuels. Well, I would say that is a hell of a strong final.
That is amazing. So we have the 25th open finalists ever. So to date, there's only been 24 Golden Shears finalists.
No.
Open shearing champions.
Open shearing champions, sorry.
So we could see a new one tonight, folks.
We could. Open shearing champions.
I think we're sitting on about 70 open finalists.
Yes, it is 70.
So
it's 24 winners.
It's not a huge number. It might be
Not for 60 years.
It might be slightly more than that, but hopefully Doug Lang will be able to clarify that with us for later on. But yeah, it's somewhere up around about 60 or 70 open finalists.
We must get that
And
from
it
Doug.
doesn't, as we saw today, we've got one new one in there for the year. Some years we go and we don't get any new finalists because it is just the experience down here just comes into play so much.
Our unlucky
Wow.
next man in, which is probably the toughest spot to be in of the whole competition, 7th place, just missed out on the open final by 0.3, was Jimmy Samuels. Leon's brother, of course, so he'll be a little bit disappointed, but the only good thing you can take home from this is you'll get a lot stronger. You'll get a bit more hunger to come back next year and do it all again.
Yeah, and he's had the experience now. He knows how that feels, whether that's good or bad. I mean, he's at least had the chance to know what that feels like. Wow. Well, that's exciting. We've got a strong lineup. We've got a newbie, a new potential, someone who's going to put the cat amongst the pigeons, who's proven his worth already through the season. So, guys, let's have a little bit of a rest, take you back to the stadium, and we'll be back shortly for the PGG Wrightson's Circuit Shearing Final.
No worries. Thank you, Mavis.
Thank you.
It's one of the most fiercely competitive markets in New Zealand. And that's why we at Bailey's continue to work to rise above the competition. We pride ourselves on being better, on doing our best to build on our hard-earned reputation every day. Since 1999, we've had a dedicated team of country experts whose skills and know-how have made us leaders in the field. We represent every sector of the rural landscape, from large-scale farms, stations, forestry, vineyards and specialty rural properties to lifestyle blocks and homes in the country. And we treat every single one with our legendary professionalism and integrity, whatever the scale. No one knows this market quite like us. We go above and beyond, time after time, day after day, year after year, to achieve the best possible results for our clients. That's why we're the nation's #1 rural real estate brand. Bailey's Country. We're altogether better.
Guys, we've got a pretty professional about it. They have tallies they want to hit, and you know, they generally just work to that tally, and well, they know how to do it. They can set themselves at a pace where they know they'll be within 1 or 2 sheep. It's bloody impressive how they do that, I reckon. I mean, it's bloody hard work though. I mean, they're running a marathon every day.
My main message to farmers would be good toilets, good facilities, maintenance, keeping the maintenance up for everybody. That includes like catching pen gates and holes in walls and springs on doors. It's just common sense stuff. That's all shearers want.
When I was still shearing, I walked into a shed one night about 9 o'clock down in Hunterville, and the place was just gleaming, and it was polished and everything was just gleaming in the shed. It was the first time I'd been there, and I thought to myself, sure, I've got to do a good job here, mate.
Business, it's all about the people. If we don't have good people, well trained, with good facilities, good resources and clean operating going forward, put stress on them, all of a sudden they might get injured or something might go wrong there, then I'm left high and dry because I don't have people running our business.
In relation to performance and everything like that, I would start with your sleep, okay? Address your sleep, because without sleep we will not perform properly. Second to that, nutrition. Okay, so just making sure that within your nutrition, your hydration is adequate, and also in terms of eating, making sure that you're eating for performance. So the fuel that you're putting in your body, you can't run a Ferrari on diesel. Okay, so if you want to perform at the highest level like these guys are, then there's an element of that needs to come into it.
You've got to learn your limits, and you've got to learn that you need a certain amount of time in bed if you're going to work long hours the next day. You look after yourself, you eat well, and you make sure that you replace what you lose from dehydration. You've got to rehydrate well.
Main message about training and fitness is take a little bit more time to care for your body. Just do a simple few exercises a day. It's going to take 5 minutes out of your day to do a little bit of strength work, 5 minutes at the end of your day to do some stretching out, and the benefits you'll reap from it will be years and years down the road.
When we're striving to do well in the industry and we're trying to make money and perhaps make a name for ourselves, we lose that sensitivity to our bodies. We lose that awareness to when we're actually in trouble physically. It's time to go and see a chiropractor, time to get some physio, maybe look at our techniques and the way that we're operating, because if people are working well and they're making money and they can feel the growth in their skill set, then they'll look after themselves. It creates a very positive atmosphere and environment for everyone to work, and they want to be there.
Breaks and recovery time are just absolutely key and vital if you want to stay performing at the top of your game in the shed. If we compare shearing and so forth to competitive rugby or competitive netball, and you think about how those guys perform, they're not at a high intensity training every single day. They factor in break times, low level training, and definitely some recovery time. So that's how they stay in peak condition and how they can keep going and keep performing and winning. And so it's no different in the shed.
Sometimes, someone's better off having a couple of days off to rest and recover than like thrashing them through it. And I think that's the main one, is just having that time out to refresh yourself and then come back stronger again.
Look, we all have little things that bug us and that are frustrations on the job, and the wool shed's no different. So is there some things that are bugging you? The earlier that you can speak up about them, the better, because if you can, then you can sort it out. So let someone know, let your head ganger or your shed hand kind of know, or it might be the farmer, what the issue is, and the earlier you do that, the better. But if it's getting really tough and you need someone else to map out what needs to change for you to be back on track, talk about it. Get some other people and connect with other people, and if you've got a bit on your plate, share it around. Other people can give you a good perspective on things.
People in our industry, if you look back 30 or 40 years ago, we were sort of taught to be hard and push through pain, but it's also being aware of when your body's in trouble and looking after yourself both physically and mentally.
Yeah, looking after your staff is really important. It's probably your number one factor. If you look after your staff, they'll look after you.
Finding it very difficult to get young people into the industry these days. So while they're here, we have to show them that we value them. And part of that is being about changing some of the attitudes of the way we did things 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
In the end, you know, it is all about the people. We can't operate without having people, and I think the ability to have respect for your contractors, for the people that are working on your property and for your property creates a great outcome for everybody.
It was Bob Chamberlain when the Shears first started out, and he said the committee's going to have to raise, I think, £2,000 in order to run that competition. And that's what I understood they were requiring in those days. And that was a big sum of money back in 1960. But the team went out and got it in those days, which obviously Laurie was involved, Edwin O'Hara's father, Roy, amongst others. And once they raised that money, then they could start the competition. I think the other thing in those days too, which hasn't possibly been highlighted, but bringing the competition, which up until then there had been wool handling, or